All right, this is the third time I'm doing this because it's been goofing up on me. I'm going to show you guys how to do the multiplicity assignment through your iPad. There's a very quick and easy way to do this. As far as your setup goes, you're going to want to find a room in your house that you've been in. Use this as your subject. So now that you've been in quarantine, for so long, what room have you been using a lot? What have you been doing in that room? Playing computer games, Xbox, board games, reading books on your iPad, with family. Think of a room that you spend a lot of time in, what you're doing in that room, and you're going to basically create a multiplicity photo, which means taking multiple pictures in that one area and combining everything into one image. Now, for this example, I'm going to be using 4 different photos. The more photos you have, the better. I'm not going to put a requirement on this. I want you guys to have fun with it and just experiment with some of the features in here. But this all just uses layer masks and just the brush tools to kind of clean things up. So what I'm going to start with is a brand new print, a letter size. I'm going to make it landscape. And when you take your images, so I'm going to go to the left-hand side, add my photos. When you take your images, you're going to want to make sure that you keep your camera steady in one section. You don't need a tripod. I simply just grabbed a table and propped it up with my camera phone, or my phone, really. And simply just added the pictures in that way. I had my daughter just sit in different places and took multiple different photos and just uploaded them. It's as simple as that. I did control the lighting by simply turning on all the lights. I moved everything around so that there wasn't just random stuff that's moving around in the background, and kept everything pretty much consistent for the most part. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to hide this first layer because she's in front of one of the other images, and we'll come back to that one a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is use my selection tool, and what I'm going to do is isolate her from the rest of the image. So I'm going to take her with my selection tool and simply isolate her. Now I'm going to select part of the couch back here so that I can get the angles and the shades correct. And what I'm going to do is hit mask. So you can see that there are definitely some issues with this. First of all, she didn't get completely selected. So what I'm going to do is on my mask layer, so in my layers menu, you can see I'm clearly on my layer mask. I'm going to swap over to my white brush and use the white brush to bring part of the image back. And what I'm going to focus on up here is simply just the ridge line of where the couch is. I don't want to take too much of it because what happens is you're going to end up taking part of the shadows from the top part. And grab her hair and make sure that her feet aren't just kind of floating there. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Now I am going to take part of the shadows from her to give it a little bit more of a natural look. I think the lighting was just a little goofy when we were taking this image, so the shadows are a little off around her. But I'm going to try and grab some of those so that it looks a little bit more natural. There we go. All right, so now you can see that there are 2 of her in this image. Next thing I'm going to do is the exact same thing. I'm going to use my quick select tool. Quickly select her. And you can see in this example, I have a bunch of the background selected, which is totally fine. I'm actually going to get a lot of this couch over here because I want to make sure the pictures line up properly. And I want to make sure that they're not out of focus based off the other image. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mask again. And you can see that her third image is now on the screen. But you can see that there are some issues. And what I'm going to do is use my brush tool and clean a lot of these areas up. And again, white will bring it back, black will take it away. In this case, I think using the black to take away that part and then the white to bring back her foot makes the most sense. because you want to get the ridge, whoops, of that couch, and you want all those angles to line up properly, but you also want the shadows to match the image. And what I'm going to do up here with my white brush is simply just go over this part of the couch so that the blanket actually aligns properly with the rest of the couch. So I'm going to take this brush, kind of gloss over it, and the rest of this looks pretty good. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is get the image of her in the front here. Now, for this, you want to be really careful. And the reason I said I'm doing this last is because she is going to be in front of everything else that I just did. So I want to make sure that I'm very, very careful with my selection, and I'm very choosy with what I select. So you can see here, I came around, grabbed part of the otter, part of her hair. I'm actually going to subtract out the pillow in the back here because I don't want that. And the pillow by her hair. And that looks okay. So what I'm going to do is hit mask. I can see her in the background, and actually this is pretty good. The first two times I did this, obviously they weren't perfect. You can see her hair over here looks a little goofy. And that's because it's a very, very harsh border there. I'm going to flip these colors back around and just kind of dot around the edges. I have to increase that hardness just a tad. Because we want part of her hair to be there, but the problem is we don't want to lose the back part of her. And you can see there's clearly some sort of halo effect going on there. So we might need to tone this down a little bit. And bring this back. Still not a fan of this part here. Oh, that's pretty good. All right. So that is the basics of how to do the multiplicity photo. There is some cleaning up that you're going to have to do. But you can see that just simply using our layer mask and our quick select tool allows us to quickly make and kind of perfect this. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is simply crop. So I'm going to just take the edges and pull them in. And there we go. So again, my suggestions here is to find an area that is controlled. You're going to want to control the lighting, you're going to want to control the position, and you're going to want to make it so that you can get into a spot within like 10 seconds. Because I think the phones have a 10-second timer, as does the iPad. So once you prop it up and find your location, just have fun with it. You know, think of things that you're doing during quarantine, like reading a book on a couch, watching TV, playing video games, whatever it is, you know. Take a picture of yourself doing that and throw it together into a multiplicity photo. And again, just get creative with it, have fun with it, and can't wait to see what you guys come up with. If you have any questions, just let me know.